All right, guys, we are live. I am Jake Ellenbogen, coming to you guys on the Bleacher Report app. Following a Rams 29-23 win, we're going to talk winners and losers. Before we do, I just want to let you guys know at any point, if you enjoy my content, you enjoy me, you can follow me on all socials at JK Bogan. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Kick, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, all of that. So how about that type of game? Just an incredible performance, a gutsy performance from Matthew Stafford. I'm going to start off by saying, first off, he's a winner in this one. All right. He's going to be very sore. I don't even know if he's going to play against the Eagles this upcoming week. They went all in on Matthew Stafford in this one, was definitely feeling it, the bumps, the bruises, all of that. So just an absolutely gutsy performance to go out there. Clearly got banged up early on in the game, stuck it out, stayed in there, was coming to a complete limp. I mean, it was brutal. But Matthew Stafford hung in there, and it was quite the performance. He did have the interception. He took 2 sacks, but he had the game-winning touchdown when it mattered. He threw it to Puka Nacua and led a 75-yard drive in overtime. Now, Matthew Stafford is one winner here. I guess he's a loser in a sense that he has the potential injury there that we won't speculate on. But what Stafford was able to do there was outstanding. You talk about it. First off, the O-line did a nice job protecting him. To come away with this win, they started off, they dominated this game. It was 23-0, and they let the Colts tie it up and send it to overtime. But at the end of the day, it's important to remember how hard it is to win in the NFL week in and week out. And I think the beginning of this game kind of led a lot of people, including maybe myself, to underrate the Colts. They are a good football team that was coming off a hard-fought win in overtime last week on the road in Baltimore, throwing pretty much ragdolling Lamar Jackson all over the field. That defense got pressure today. Offensive line did a great job. Defense got pressure. Defense got the turnover. Zach Moss was able to get going in the run game. And then you look obviously at the sensational rookie, Anthony Richardson, who no matter what Raheem Morris threw at him, he stuck by this team. He stuck by him in this game and kept them above water. But when you look at just the performance Stafford had, I can't underrate this. It has to be really put out there for people to realize the 89.5 passer rating doesn't explain it. It doesn't tell the full story. His interception that came right after he got hit. I don't remember the exact pronunciation of the guy's last name, but Dio is his first name, starting with an O, his last name, on the Colts, crushed him. So if you missed that, he crushed him. It was right after he threw the pass. After that, Stafford progressively got worse. He was really banged up, wasn't able to step into his throws. But we saw him just, gut it out for the rest of the game. So big winner there. Another winner in this one is, I'm going to say co-winners here. You talk about Kyron Williams getting 25 carries for 103 yards. We talked about it, guys. We talked about them only running the ball 10 times against the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday Night Football. That's not conducive to winning football games, right? We mentioned that. However, what I was so impressed with is the fact that at the end of the day, they did decide, look, we're going to go out there, we're going to run the football. And I was very much impressed with the fact they stuck by it with Kyron, and then they used Ronnie Rivers. So Ronnie Rivers, he really showed out. 5.2 yards per carry. He had 9 carries for 47. Obviously Kyron with his 25 carries for 103, 2 touchdowns. He did have a fumble that I have to point that out, but he had a 20-yard run, really nice run there. I thought the run game got going. This is not a team that is really bad stopping the run. So this was a really good sign that they're running against a decent front. Then you talk about the receivers. Puka Nacua, huge winner in this game. Puka Nacua went for 9 catches on 10 targets. So he caught almost everything for 163 yards, which is an 18.1 average and a touchdown. And he waited to get his first touchdown of his NFL career. Obviously he had one in preseason, but his first touchdown in the NFL regular season He waited to get it to cap off the win. Just an outstanding job, outstanding performance. You love to see it. Just the rookie receiver, 5th rounder. I think it's safe to say he's legit. Like, in case you were wondering, after all these records that they continue to he continues to break and all of that, this guy is him. He is legit. And it's time for people to start to realize that we're talking about somebody in Puka Nacua that could be one of the best receivers in all of football. And I know that sounds crazy through 4 games. And I think that says more about what he can become, because we're talking about that already. And he's still not a finished product. So it's very exciting. Not a first-round pick either. So it looks like the Rams struck absolute gold in regards to Puka Nacua. Big winner throughout the week we'll give him, and he was pretty big in this game. Tyler Higbee, he came away with a 2-year contract extension, and then he comes away with 5 catches for 64 yards. He was important in this one, including a 33-yard grab. You needed every single inch in this game. Anytime you go to overtime, you have to win win that touchdown. You need every single inch in this game, and I thought Higbee played well. He is a winner in this one. A loser in this one. Maybe it's not fair. I'm going to say it's Brett Maher. I thought he kicked pretty well, but I think, unfortunately, when you talk about winners and losers, you talk about stock game, people aren't going to look at the fact he had 11 points in this one, right? People aren't going to look at the fact that he made 3 long field goals and he made this, the longest field goal of the day, 54. They're going to talk about the 2 misses that led to overtime, not the other things that happened in between, the defense giving up all those yards and whatnot, the offense kind of stalling. No, what's going to be talked about is Brett Maher missing 2 field goals. That's unfortunately the life. You live and die by it as a kicker and a punter. So that's the way it is. Unfortunately, he's going to end up being a loser in this one. I think a loser is Austin Trammell, and here's why. I thought he looked really good in punt returns, but my guy kept having everything called back. So it's really hard, in that sense, when, you're coming up there, you get off the practice squad, you have some good returns, you make things happen, and then just constant things are happening where, they're calling this back and calling this back. So he's a loser there. Not a ton of losers in this game, though. Aaron Donald's certainly not one of them. He was excellent. I guess he's a loser in a sense that they took away his strip sack. So should have had 2 sacks in this one. That it's neither here nor there. I would say Kobe Durant, I still see some hesitancy. He's not playing with that killer instinct. Jordan Fuller, I understand, Jordan Fuller's a good player, but I think in this game, especially, you go back to that red zone play where, they're going to go for that 2-point conversion. And it is, at this point, it's 23, they're trying to tie it up. It's 23-21. And you have the RPO. So Witherspoon is covering Pittman. Fuller didn't have to be double covering Pittman. I'm not really sure what Fuller's doing there. And if they get that stop, obviously, maybe it's not as exciting. But I would say because of that, I think Fuller was a loser in this one. Darion Kendrick, I thought he had some ill-advised plays as well, including the one where there was definitely some miscommunication. But you just see, the tight end Kylan Granson getting a huge gain and Darion Kendrick pointing the finger like, where is everybody? Just not great stuff there. But we don't want to end on a negative here. At the end of the day, the Rams came away the winners, and that's the most important thing. Hats off to Sean McVey. Look, there are going to be a lot of people that, badger McVey for, deciding to play not to lose, being conservative. Here's what I'm going to say about this game. I think the Rams going into this had a plan of attack. They were going to run the football. They were going to establish the run against this tough defense, and then they were going to open up the play action. And it worked. We saw a 23-0 game at one point. But the problem here when doing that is that when Stafford got his knee or his leg, or we don't really know what happened, but he got hit and his leg started to bother him. He throws the interception. He starts not looking the same, kind of unravels a little bit. And then the offense unravels a little bit. So the problem is the Rams intended on playing ball control style offense, trusting in their defense that was pitching a shutout through half the game. And that is how they wanted to go about it. The interception builds momentum for the Colts. And then after that, it becomes a little bit of a snowball effect. So I will say this. I'm going to defend Sean McVey here. I know people are going to be saying that I'm crazy and, McVey deserves blame for this being close. But my point here that I'm trying to make is that I believe Sean McVey had a good game plan. They were doing things the right way, and it fell apart the moment Stafford, aggravated something. And say what you will, that, that sucks. That's the way it goes. You had 2 missed field goals. The game's different if they hit those 2. I think playing the ball control style offense, running out the clock, kicking field goals, it would have worked. If Stafford doesn't get hurt, it works probably fine. The problem is now all of a sudden Stafford's in pain. Stafford's not able to make the throws that he wants to make. Now they know that they're going to run the ball. So your offense becomes predictable, whether you want it to be or not. Obviously, no one wants their offense to be predictable. So that's how I see it. That's how that happened. Then Gus Bradley starts dialing up some blitzes. And now, you're really forcing Kyron's hand. You're forcing Ronnie Rivers' hand. Ronnie Rivers is not great in pass protection. Kyron is. But even still, you keep throwing the kitchen sink at him, and that's what you're going to see. So, end of the day, the Rams are 2-2 without Cooper Kupp. They potentially made it. We'll see. There's a chance. I would say there's more than a chance Cooper Kupp is going to play next week. Right now, however, I think the real concern is Matthew Stafford. I'm getting x-rays. I'm making sure everything about that leg is intact. And if it's not, I'm taking it easy because the Rams' lifeline is Matthew Stafford. They're going to go as far as Matthew Stafford takes him. I'm on the phone tomorrow with Carson Wentz's agent. I'm getting him in the building. I'm having him learn the offense, and I'm probably going to want him to be the backup. We don't know what's going on with 4th-round rookie Stetson Bennett. And Brett Rippon, we know, isn't very good, okay? So you need to have some sort of backup plan in case something like that were to happen. So I do think the Rams, who have already teased the idea of looking outside the organization for a quarterback, because of the Stetson shoulder injury and, Stafford, I think that this is probably the week that they do pull the trigger. I'm not going to make a prediction here. I'm just saying I think they should bring in Carson Wentz. I think he makes the most sense. You look at the mobility factor. You look at how the big, the body that he has. He can break some sacks. He can get out of them. He can make things happen off script. And 2 years ago, on that same Indianapolis Colts team, a little bit different, but obviously the same organization, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. So I'll throw my hat, my hat right in there to have the Rams go right after Carson Wentz this week. I will address something here. I will say a loser in this one is anyone who thought that the Rams were going to trade for Jonathan Taylor, including myself. Now, they still probably could, okay? I'm not going to lie. But you have to admit that stock is that's down a little bit after the Rams running backs ran for 150 yards. All the talk was that, can Kyron Williams handle the workload? Can he handle 25 carries? And he looked pretty darn good and went over 100 yards. So, Ronnie Rivers looked good. Maybe we see Zach Evans if things get pushed, I'm totally blanking on his name now. Royce Freeman. There we go. We see one of those guys, but I think at the moment I wouldn't be and I definitely don't think they should trade for Jonathan Taylor, but I think at the moment they're pretty good here. I think the question now remains is the edge spot. And I also want to pitch this to you guys as well. Did the Rams find their edge defender on the roster? Call me crazy, but Jonathan, and this is a winner here, Jonah Williams. Jonah Williams was outstanding in the run game. Okay. Jonah Williams, we need to start talking about Jonah Williams and not the Bengals tackle who's good. But Jonah Williams, the UDFA defensive lineman, is just balling out week in and week out. And he needs to have his name talked about more. And Jonah Williams is somebody, in my opinion, who's doing all the little things. He's not rushing the passer like a Kobe Turner who's playing extremely well. He's stopping the run. He's setting the tone there. in the run game. His athleticism is there. He's able to get out to the flat. I've been really impressed with him. And I think what this ultimately allows, guys, is when you look at Bobby Brown, you look at Kobe Turner, you look at Jonah Williams, Desjuan Johnson got in there. So what I'm going to say right now might surprise you, but I would heavily consider playing Aaron Donald on the edge. And they used him a few times, but I'm saying if I moved him to defensive end, I think that would make my football team better. That's what I think they should do. They do it, but they don't do it consistently. I'm saying if they moved Aaron Donald to defensive end, or outside linebacker, whatever you want to call it, edge, I think that might be the move. You saw today, he's as good as anybody, and you like the interior pressure, and you could still rotate him. But I still think Hoyt is still not great there, although he had a huge, tipped pass that could have been the game. So I thought Hoyt at times played okay, but I think he's not a starter. I think we know that now. Like, he's a backup who is good. He's a good backup. He can be that rotational piece, but he's not a starter. And I think a lot of people would agree with that. Shout out to Bobby Brown. He had a couple stops as well. Yeah, Bobby Brown's been playing well. I think really this Raheem Morris defense for the first time kind of got kicked in the teeth a little bit in this one, because the way they've played this year has been really impressive, but just the way, and I'm going to bring up his stats now. Anthony Richardson balled out, guys. I have to give credit where credit's due. This completion percentage right here, I'm not worried about. 200 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, a 98.8 passer rating, 10 carries for 56 yards and a touchdown. He ends up with 3 touchdowns. He led this team back into it. You got to give credit where credit's due. And the reason I bring him up on a Rams show is because this is what the Rams were going up against. A guy who was able to counter the blitz. He was able to counter the different looks that Raheem Morris was throwing his way. That was what impressed me the most. And it impressed me the most because this is a rookie doing this. So I think it says more about him and less about the defense. And I wanted to make that clear because I didn't want to come off saying I think the defense struggled. I think the defense played pretty well. And then I think everything changed when Stafford got banged up. So, guys, moving on to, they go back to SoFi here. This is a huge win on the road. Not going to get too much into the Bengals game. Obviously, you look back at that. They definitely should have won that game. They could be 3-1 right now, but 2-2 is not bad. The best player on their team is probably Aaron Donald. The second best player on their team is probably Cooper Kupp. And now what they found without Cooper Kupp in the first 4 weeks is that this kid right here is not a rookie. He has a chance to be a Pro Bowl level talent this year, and he has a chance to be an all-pro level talent down the road. He is destroying records. So that's a good thing. You found out he can play. Tutu Atwell, who had kind of a down game today, he can play. Van Jefferson made a couple nice catches. We'll see what happens with him. Higbee got paid. He can still play. And then you look at the running back room. But most importantly here, this defense is tough. This defense had 11 sacks coming into it, and Stafford got sacked twice. You'll sign up for that. You will sign up for that all day. Their left tackle, Alaric Jackson, was out. I thought Noteboom played a hell of a game at left tackle. I was really impressed the way Kevin Dotson played at right guard. He looks like a huge pickup that Les Snead made right before the season. The Steelers felt he wasn't going to fit their blocking scheme, so they said, all right, we'll give him a call. As far as that goes, Jack, I'm not really sure what kind of injury he has. I haven't had a chance to look. I went live right after the game. So, there'll be more info on that, I'm sure of it. But they're going to have to take it easy on him. And it might unfortunately mean they might have to take the L this week against Philly and hold him out. And I understand that sounds hard to hear, but this is why they went all in essentially. Any other team probably takes their quarterback off the field. But I just think at the end of the day, when you look at this, I think Stafford right now, you go out, you get the win. They went all in. They kept him out there. They needed to win this game because they put a lot on the table. They risked a lot. They went all out for Stafford. Because if they took him out, they'd probably lose the game. But they knew he stayed out too long. This might have some, drawbacks here, but we got to at least get this win. And that's what they did. And now we'll see what ends up happening moving forward. But anyway, guys, appreciate you guys showing out. The winner of the poll, the player of the game is Puka Nacua. I asked you guys Nacua, Stafford, or Donald, and you guys said Nacua. So Nakua's the player of the game. Just again, really appreciate you guys. You can follow me on all socials at JK Bogan. You can follow me right on this app. And if you do, you'll get alerts anytime I go live. I'm live after pretty much every Rams game. So you can find me here and you can find me on YouTube afterwards. But I will see you guys in the next one. You guys take care and we'll see you guys soon. Later, folks.